And he creates everything from scratch. He doesn't buy anything pre-made because even with a machine or whatever, you can't get them to the same specifications that he needs. He's splitting these things to like a couple of millimeters.
G'day, I'm Kama.
And I'm Blowy.
It's the Kama and Blowy Show.
Kama and Blowy, Kama and Blowy, walking and talking. Kama and Blowy, Kama and Blowy.
Good morning, Kama. How are you?
G'day, Blowy. We're just recovering from a typhoon here. Massive Category 5 Typhoon Haishen just kind of passed through and wreaked havoc. I know the camera's pointing up now, but there's lots of foliage all kind of strewn across the roads, and yeah, there's about 3,000 households around here that got their power knocked out on Sunday night, and it's now Tuesday, and apparently they won't be getting it back till probably about tomorrow. But we were lucky, we've still got our power.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that in a second, but you might be wondering why I'm smiling so much.
Well, no, I can't see you.
Oh, well, maybe you might think when you watch it, why is Blowy smiling so much? And that's because this is just a fake mouth. Just I've got a mask and I'm trying to be a little bit happier. So trying to spread some joy in times where we need joy in the community. Because in Victoria, Melbourne, where I am now, and we're in lockdown, and it's just been extended. So it doesn't look like we're going to get out of lockdown till probably, I think, end of November or something like that.
Wow. Long time in lockdown.
Long time in lockdown.
You must be itching for a skate.
Oh, so much. Look, I'm going to probably next podcast hopefully I'll skate it just around here. It won't be a proper skate, but it'll be a bit of a rec skate.
Yeah. What do you mean by rec
Exercise skate? Oh, so recreational, more of an exercise, because you're not allowed to have fun here. That's one of the rules. So, but you're allowed to exercise. So if I'm doing it as an exercise and I'm just going along a path and like less of a hobby, more of a sport, I guess, or whatever you'd call it, physical activity, less jumping and grinding and stuff like that, but more just skating along, I guess.
I heard the pandemic has been a blessing for rollerblade, and their sales have gone through the roof.
Yeah, well, apparently people are just trying to find new hobbies that they can do, and rollerblading seems to be one of them, because you don't have to go to the gym to do it. You can do it outdoors. It's a good hobby to pick up.
Oh, absolutely.
And yeah, and I agree. I wish I could be out there skating more.
Yeah, I haven't been for a skate for a long time, but that's more because of the rainy season passed through here, and then obviously I've got a little child who I'm pushing now. He's probably going to be coming on the majority of these future Kama and Blowy episodes, so I'm going to have to figure out a better rig system. At the moment I've just got this Joby Gorilla Pod tripod that basically bends its legs, and it's around the pram, the stroller, but I'm going to have to get a much better run because it's hard to see everything. I'm not sure if you just saw before, but well, you may have heard a cargo pass, but there was a patrol car. They have patrol cars that are constantly going along the roads here looking for any issues, and then I don't know if they report them or they just fix them themselves, but I guess they're doing some reconnaissance, whatever. Sorry, I got that word wrong. Recon, just to make sure that all the roads are clear, because there have been a lot that had, like even ours, we had to get all this bamboo and branches and stuff cleared off it. It's pretty wild.
Well, you actually had to leave your place, didn't you? Evacuate and go elsewhere because it was too dangerous where you're living.
So they had the evacuation notices again, and over the loudspeakers, but we had some friends who lived in a pretty new house in a place that's high but quite flat, so we went and stayed with them. So this is the second time we've evacuated our homes due to extreme weather events this in the last couple of months. Yeah, so
why is flat good? Because like in like Brisbane or something, flat, okay, flooding, that's my concern, but why is it, and would you want to look for something flat where you are?
Well, basically we're in the mountains, the forested area, and the ground can be unstable once it gets waterlogged, and it moves easily because it's got lots of volcanic ash and stuff. So there are a lot of landslides, and they're a real concern here. So yeah, we basically want to stay away from them, as you'd imagine.
And because I remember in a few episodes before, you actually were showing us a few landslides, and they look pretty serious, don't they?
Oh, absolutely, yep. There's some cows here just wallowing in the mud. They don't really seem to have any cares in the world. They're just standing around, wagging their tails.
Hey, are you going to be going past the goat today?
No, but Booger, he set me a challenge to feed some carrots or vegetables to the goat, and I like that idea. So I'd like to, Booger, I'm not going to do it today at the moment because of all these, these storms a few months back that destroyed a lot of crops here. So vegetables are very expensive now. So I don't really have vegetables I'm willing to give to the goat at this point. But once it gets a bit cheaper, or if I have some excess vegetables from our garden, I'll go past and get some vision of giving the goat a treat and maybe making peace with the goat.
Yeah, sounds good. And we probably might even need a name for the goat. So in the comments, could you help us come up with a name for the goat?
Yeah.
If you could be bothered, anyone. And it's basically, probably we might get one comment. So whoever comments, you'll probably win the competition. So
we can even get t-shirts made.
Yeah, Gary the goat. Or actually, I don't want to influence the decisions here by.
Well, if no one comments, let's
just
call it Gary the goat.
All right, done. So it's raining here at the moment, and I'm just going to cross the river, and people are looking at me weird with this smiling mask, but we don't care because that's how we do it on the Kama and Blowy Show.
Yeah.
But today, Kama, I want to talk to you about a video project that you did while you're in Japan.
Yes.
And it was about a guy who was a traditional bamboo weaver.
Yes.
Could you want to let us know, first of all, how you actually found this guy?
Okay, so yes, I did make a video about Tanaka Kyokusho, who is a celebrated Japanese artist, traditional artist. But originally, I found him because, as you'll remember from a previous episode, I used to live in Vanuatu, and I lived in a little bamboo hut. And living in that bamboo hut really opened my eyes to the power and the magic of bamboo. So when I went to Japan, I said, I want to learn how to make stuff from bamboo, because I mean, they made stuff from Vanuatu, but it was much more utilitarian and just simple, made for a single purpose. Whereas in Japan, I looked everywhere and people were using bamboo in really beautiful ways. And it wasn't something that was just, I mean, you see in the country some things that are kind of whipped up quickly, but there's all these art pieces and things that are really lovingly crafted as well. And so I thought it'd be a waste of my time in Tokyo if I didn't kind of look into something like this. And at the time I was working as an English teacher at a private English school. And so basically my working hours were in the afternoons. I started like about 3 p.m. and went through till about 9, or I think it was 6 hours a day. So I had all this time in the morning. So I went to the equivalent of the yellow pages, like the telephone directory, and looked up bamboo and looked up all the businesses I could find and plotted them out on a map. So it was literally like a map with all these red dots of different places. And then I had that was like an A4 kind of sheet. And then I also had my because we didn't have Google Maps or anything back in those days. This is 2004 or 2003. And I had a street directory that was kind of like a palm-sized one. So I took that with me, jumped on a bicycle, and I basically printed like an A4 sheet explaining my love for bamboo, my contact details, and I also had like a picture of the hut I lived in Vanuatu. And so as I visited places, I kind of showed them that.
Do you still have that document? I'm sure you do.
I'm sure I do somewhere, but I know that that Tanaka Kyokusho still kept his copy.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, I jumped on my bicycle and I probably visited about 6 or 7, and lots of them weren't so much artistic, but they were more like places that supplied bamboo. And I was going there and just introducing myself, all in Japanese of course, and saying basically, hey, I really want to learn about bamboo. I'm happy to clean your workspace or do the, you know,
Your
the
toilet,
worst
clean
jobs.
the toilet.
Yeah, whatever. And in return, I'd like to learn about making things from bamboo. And most were kind of polite, but said, oh no, I don't think that's going to be possible. And a few places were kind of a little bit more hostile. But yeah, I got to about 7 of them and I was starting to get a little bit concerned that I wasn't going to find a place. And then I came across this cool little shop that had like a workspace to one side.
Kama,
Yeah.
so initially you were only trying to learn the art. You didn't mention anything about filming them or anything
No,
like that.
well, I didn't have a video camera. I think when I first went in, I didn't even realize. It was about the same time that I decided I wanted to be a journalist, but I can't remember the exact timing. But it was probably just before I decided I wanted to be a journalist. And so, yeah, I had absolutely zero interest in reporting on it. I was probably going to blog about it, because I remember I blogged about it. But that was more, I blogged about everything I was doing at that stage. And yeah, so I went into this shop and there was an old lady there. And I was looking at all the stuff. They were really nice baskets, like really expensive. Like some of them were, you know, thousands of dollars for these baskets. But I'll definitely post some pictures because you have to see them to really appreciate them. Very intricate. The patterns were just incredible. And the bamboo as well was they were in strips, but they were really thin as well, so the light could kind of come through them and everything. And they were really beautiful. You wouldn't really want to use them to store things inside it. It just seems like a waste. But anyway, so I went in there and I kind of did the same spiel I'd done at the other places. And I said this to this old lady. She looked like she was maybe late 70s or 80s or something. And she said, no, sorry, we can't really do anything there. But I heard a voice from out the back. And I was like, no, hold on. I was like, oh, what's this? And this guy, who I learned afterwards was her son, came out. And he kind of looked at me and looked at my piece of paper. And he said, okay, I'll teach her. Come back next Monday. I was like, really? He goes, yep. And so I said, oh, okay, thank you. And I went back next.
And how far was this from your place?
So I basically, it was like 2 trains. It wasn't too far, but because it's Tokyo, it takes a while to get around. So it involved a pretty big train transfer at Shinjuku Station, which is the biggest station in Tokyo. And yeah, so it probably took an hour or so door to door. Yeah, but the good thing was that it was kind of on my way to the place I was working on Monday, because I worked at different schools on different days. And so I was actually able to kind of go towards my workplace and then go to this studio and then continue on to my work in the afternoon. And yeah, so the first day I went there and I was like, okay, I've got no idea really what to expect. But he kind of drew up this shopping list. He said, these are the things you're going to need. And I looked and it was quite expensive. Like these tools were not cheap. But these are the kind of tools that I looked at that he had. And so they're things like a special splitting knife, So it's super sharp on the edge, but then it's got this big wedge, so it's just basically so you can strip. Without that, you can't really create your own bamboo strips. And he creates everything from scratch. He doesn't buy anything pre-made because even with a machine or whatever, you can't get them to the same specifications that he needs. Like he's splitting these things to like a couple of millimeters. And yeah, so the first few times it was very simple. We just kind of,
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kama. Just so these, you got this shopping list, right?
Yep.
Of these specific items. You don't just go down to Circle K or 7-Eleven and go buy these. Like, did he tell you where to purchase them from? Because it's quite a specific tool.
Well, that was the thing. He said, look, if you can get these a better deal, he goes, I've got my own channels that I can get them for you if you want. I said, yeah, please. So I basically gave him the money and he went and got all this stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because otherwise, yeah, I wouldn't even have a clue where to start them, and I didn't really feel like spending my time doing that. I'd rather be learning about the bamboo. Yeah, so he's basically third generation bamboo weaver. He learned his craft down on the island that I'm on now, and he spent a lot of time. Like, you know, the whole thing is like you need you need at least 10,000 hours to kind of learn a craft. He's done.
Well, that's the expert of craft, isn't it?
And he's got more than that. And he's also teaching his son at the same time. So his son was.
And how old is his son?
Oh, his son's a little bit younger than me. Yeah, but he was a really good guy as well, and he very humble. And his dad's so strict with him. And like from my
Was he full time?
Yeah, full time. Yeah. From my eyes, his son is incredible. Like, but his dad's like, nah, he's got so much to learn. He's not ready. Like, basically in Japan, your teacher will give you an artist name when you're ready. And he still hasn't got his artist name yet, and he's been doing it for a long time. So
what do you mean by an artist name?
Oh, you know, like some writers have a pen name. So his name is not actually, even though he's known as Tanaka Kyokusho, that's not his real name. Like if you look at his passport and all these official,
Okay.
That's just his artist name. And
yeah.
So his son.
What is it? Is it like Doc Sic? That's not his real name. It's really Pete Leong.
That's right. Yeah.
Shout out Doc Sic.
I've got some people up here. I'm just wondering if they might want to stop and look at the baby. Konnichiwa.
I just had some guy.
Chatta-san.
He's just telling these guys that when he takes his son Rudy for a walk, that he falls asleep and becomes calm. Anyway, for you audio listeners who don't understand Japanese, Kama's breaking up on me anyway here, so I will just talk to you now. That some guy just rode past and he was like pissing himself laughing at my mouth, I think. And this other guy that walked past saw me recording and with this funny mouth as well, and people are like, "What's going on?" So it's getting a bit. It's done the job. I wanted to bring some cheer into some sad people, so I think it's done the job.
This guy talking to himself.
You're back now, are you, Kama?
I'm back, yeah.
I kind of did a bit of a play-by-play on what you were saying there, Kama, but then the audio broke up and I couldn't hear anymore. So
okay. Well, I just think.
So where were you?
Oh, I was just walking and some people who knew me kind of talk. So to the listeners now, I think that bit will have to actually be cut out just for privacy concerns. But I'll let you play with that Blowy in the edit and see what you can come up with.
Yeah, that's right. What I'll do is, and I'm going to share this with the audience as well, because we don't hide things from people on the Kama and Blowy Show.
We're going to hide.
No,
things
but no. Listen, Kama, let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish. So what I'll do is I will do a live translation, and we won't show the people, but we'll blur them out, and we'll just have Kama having a chat and I'll explain what he's chatting about.
Okay. Sounds good. And you can, well, you can even show your face, whatever. But yes. Okay, so back to the story. Where was I? We're talking about artist names, wasn't it? Artist names?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, the son still hasn't got his artist name. And I always ask whenever I go and visit them, I say, oh, is your son, does he have his artist name yet? And he goes, oh, no, he's not ready. It's almost like a bit of a running joke. So I'm not sure if he's ever going to get an artist name. Yeah. So basically I would go there every...
He's years away from that.
Yeah.
Decades.
That's right. And I apologize as well, I just noticed I am. Am I going through another black spot? Are you missing me again? This happened around this area another time as well.
Yeah, well, maybe when he retires.
Maybe, yeah. But I went to this workshop every Monday, and the first thing I made was like a little tray that was like a display tray, but I got so much help from the bamboo master.
Yeah, and I'm just going to let you keep talking, so just concentrate on the GoPro.
Okay. So Blowy's letting me talk now. Now I'm coming up to the bamboo grove. Okay, it looks like we've got a black spot or something here again. But we're coming up to my famous bamboo grove where I think I went through this place on the first, actually I discovered this bamboo grove I think on my first
Kama,
Kama
I
Blowy
just
Show.
said keep talking.
Yeah.
Because you're breaking up, so just keep.
Okay. So you can see here there's wow, there's still a lot of dirt and stuff all over the road. Anyway, I would go to these to this bamboo studio every Monday, and I was given a few simple things to make, and I was really surprised with how difficult it was to make these simple baskets, especially just getting the strips right. To get them all perfectly straight and uniform in width, etc., is a real challenge. So I had already a huge appreciation for how good he was just at making, you know, all these bamboo strips. Looks like there's some work happening here. Going past some big sandbags. They're all numbered, I guess, so they can keep track of how many are there. People are working out in the field at the moment. Looks like.
Well, I think it's easier, Kama, to number the. Can you hear me, Kama? By the way.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's easier for him to number each bag opposed to each grain of sand. That'd be tricky.
Good one. That's right. It's true though.
Classic.
Yeah. But anyway, so I did this for a good half a year or maybe more. But then Junko and I decided to move down to Osaka. So that was, we just kind of started seeing each other, and she was already planning to move to Osaka, so it wasn't any question for me. I was planning to go down there. But yeah, definitely one of the things I was going to miss was these bamboo classes.
How many classes did you do in total?
I think I would have done about
At a guess.
maybe 9 months worth, so yeah, maybe 30 or so. But I also took a lot of stuff home with me and split it at home, and then kind of worked on things at home because he showed me the basics.
And did he give you a artist name just to piss his son off?
No, definitely not. No. Yeah. So that was I was so not ready for it. Like it's embarrassing. Like I mean, I'm quite happy with the stuff I made, considering it's just a bit of a. But he was really indulging me. Like he was an extremely kind, considering mine was just a hobby at best. But if you want to be in the same league as him, like you've got to put in so many hours, and like just to get a basket to basically slowly curve, it's just so difficult. Like you look at you look at my baskets and the lines are all over the place. I'm just thinking, how do you keep track of them and keep this gradual slow curve that almost looks like it's, you know, being computer designed or 3D printed or something. That's how you can really tell, you know, you separate the mice from the men. And yeah, it was just completely different level. And even when I looked at his son's things carefully, like, it wasn't so much imperfections, but you could definitely tell the difference between his work and his dad's, because his dad was just yeah, complete master. So I had to move to Osaka, so I took all my stuff with me, but I didn't really have any chances. It wasn't the same with Tanaka sensei there, because his guidance was so important for me, and without him there it was really hard to find the motivation, and you know, I just get stuck. But I was making all these stupid DVDs at the time. They're called the Big Camo DVDs, and there was kind of like a variety half-hour show where I just kind of whacked all these little videos together on a DVD and sent them out. And Dad was talking to me one day and he said, yeah, Dave, these videos you're making, they're a bit of a laugh, but if you want to be a journalist, why don't you do like a proper documentary, like make a video on that guy that was teaching you bamboo in Tokyo. And I was like, actually, that's a really good idea. So I talked to Junko and she goes, yeah, you should do it. So I jumped up on a bullet train, went up there for a few days to Tokyo, and I'd called him obviously in advance and asked if I could follow him around and make a documentary on him. And I think for him, it was kind of like, oh, yeah, it'd be nice to see David, and yeah, let him follow us around with the camera. And it probably took me a long time to edit that because it was such a big project. And I had so much footage, like I overshot. And you know, I'd never done a documentary before. And anyway, I eventually got it done and sent it to him. And yeah, he was really happy and surprised with the quality of this video that I made. So he asked me, because it was the 100th anniversary of the shop's founding, so he asked me if it was okay to use my video as kind of like a promotional kind of thing for that. So he would basically send it out to customers and have it playing in the shop and at some events and things like that. And you know, of course, for me, I was like, yeah, please, of course you can do that. So I think I got a big spindle of DVDs and yeah, burnt them all. And he put labels on them afterwards. I sent like a huge spindle of 50 DVDs or something up to Tokyo. And yeah, it's actually been played all around the world at like some art things in the States. It was played at I can't remember the exact name, but it was like the Bamboo Society of New Zealand's annual general meeting in 2008 or 9 or something like that. And it still remains to be my most viewed video on YouTube as well. So I'm actually quite proud of that work, because I'd never made a documentary before. It was my first shot, and you know, I kind of self-taught, so when I look back at it now, there's so many things that I think, oh, I definitely shoot that differently, or that you know, just, you know, the way that shots progress and things like that, and the choice of cuts and things are definitely things I do differently. But by and large, in terms of the structure and everything, I'm pretty happy with it for a first attempt at a documentary.
Yeah, and you had to put it on YouTube, and back then you were only allowed to have 10 minutes max, is that right?
That's right, yeah. So it was originally split up into, like, I think just because finding the place to end it as well, that was also a bit of a challenge. So it may have gone just over 30 minutes as well, so I ended up cutting it into 4 parts. And so for some reason, part 2 is the most popular. I think from memory, that's the section in which he explains the different types of bamboo that are being used. That one seems really popular. But yeah, I've since uploaded the entire video onto YouTube as well. But yeah, it's not getting as many views as the originals.
No. Yeah, great. Well, that's a That's a good little story there, Kama. And I think are you gonna try and do some more of those type of things? Find some experts and try and capture what they do.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's still my favorite type of video to do, really, I think. Like this time in Japan, I did one on a guy who makes wood carvings. They're actually, they're called rumba panels, and they're found above, in Japan, they tend to have like a flagship room. It's like their feature room, and it's got like a nice alcove. It's got a nice pillar made from nice wood, and it's often got these rumba panels, which are like these carved panels that sit above the sliding doors. And so I found a guy who carved them. Another guy is not so much an expert as such, but he runs a bathhouse. So I guess I like those things that are uniquely Japanese, and someone who's passionate about what they do. They tend to be my favorite kind of videos to make.
And the bathhouse is a bit of a tricky one, isn't it? Because to capture the essence of a bathhouse is going in there and having a wash naked
Yeah.
type of.
Exactly.
So it's a tricky one to capture the true essence. But how'd you do?
Yeah, he basically let me go in before hours, so you know, that's how I did that. But afterwards, and it was easier before it opened as well, because he hadn't really heated them up, so they were it wasn't too steamy in there.
Okay.
But yeah, I went back afterwards and did another one, and it was really steamy in there, and my lenses were just all fogging up, and yeah, that was a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Kama, we've hit our 30-minute mark.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to call it a day. But thank you everyone for listening. Remember, you can listen to the Kama and Blowy podcast also on your favourite podcast program
App.
and you can where else? YouTube. You know, it's everywhere.
Yep. So
You want it?
just search
They've got it.
Kama and Blowy. Kama with a K.
Yeah. Yep. Blowy with a B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's elbow the camera today, Blowy.
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Boom.
Boom.
G'day, I'm Kama.
And I'm Blowy.
It's the Kama and Blowy Show.
Kama and Blowy, Kama and Blowy, walking and talking. Kama and Blowy, Kama and Blowy.